Welcome back to Backyard Cigars, and today I'm reviewing another one of the cigars that I purchased when I was in South Philly, South 3rd Street, specifically SJ Cigars. SJ Cigars is a company which sells various brands of cigars, but they also manufacture their own brand, Cuban Stock. Cuban Stock is their private label brand, which I must point out is completely done in the Dominican Republic with Cuban seeds like many other people. In other words, there really isn't anything that special about saying you've got Cuban seeds and you're using Cuban seeds for your tobacco. It's good. It's good. It's better than saying I've got I don't know. I've got Colombian seed. No disrespect to Colombia. I'm just making a point of this. And I'm not coming after the company because if you're seeing this review, then you'll probably watched the previous review on the first cigar that I reviewed on them. And I thoroughly enjoyed that cigar. Thoroughly impressed. But I had my critiques. But let me start with the specs on this particular cigar. This is the Cuban Stock Reserve Toro. It is a 6x50, and if I'm correct, this is actually the same cigar that they have a jumbo-sized version of outside of their shop on South 3rd Street in Philadelphia. Now, SJ Cigars is owned by Yaniv Levy. He is from Jerusalem. He moved to Philadelphia in 93, started this business in 95. Originally, SJ was going to be Smoking Java. It was going to be a coffee shop. He was, and still is, a coffee aficionado and very much into the coffee culture. But in the early to mid 90s, Starbucks was taken off and kind of pushing all the small coffee shops out of business. So he decided to change the business model over to cigars, something he also loved. And he talks, and in his beliefs, in regards to Jews and cigars, and how Jews partnered with Cubans early on and formed businesses to expand the cigar industry. These are things that he talks about in his interviews and he's very proud of. So he's also very big on using rare and aged tobacco. That was evident with the last cigar that I smoked. So let's see if that becomes the case here. Now, this Reserve Toro, Cuban Stock Reserve Toro from their private line, is cloaked in a USA Connecticut shade wrapper. The binder and the filler are from the Dominican Republic. The filler is aged, not specific in the amount of years, but it's supposedly a rare Dominican tobacco, aged in an oak barrel with Dominican tree roots for 10 years. So the filler is aged for 10 years in an oak barrel with Dominican tree roots. This is supposed to impart a very earthy, slightly spicy, and creamy flavor profile. So yeah, I read that. Will I get that? Maybe. Sometimes we get what the description offers, but sometimes we don't. And it's just sometimes our palate just doesn't pick up certain things at certain points of the day or week, whatever. This is 2:00, beautiful 78 degree day with very low humidity. Perfect smoking day. No winds. So I'm hoping to enjoy this and let you know more about it as it progresses. So yeah, into this first inch, I'm getting cedar, I'm getting some mild creaminess, and I'm getting some very soft, earthy flavors. So far it's delivering as the description promised. And I've mentioned before, I don't really like to read the descriptions on what the cigar has to offer, because I don't want that to influence my review, or, you know, in any kind of way suggest to me what I should be picking up when I pick up flavors. But sometimes you're coming along, you're reading on cigars, doing research on cigars you're going to review, and you'll read it, and I try to like block it out and sort of just remember what I need to remember about the description of the cigar, and forget about what they're trying to tell me it should taste like. But other times you just can't forget, because that's just how our memory works. But I never let that influence me, because they describe their cigars accordingly, and this is what they want to promote, these flavors. But it isn't always the case. Sometimes the cigar falls short of providing the creaminess, or sometimes the cigar will be more leather than sweetness. It just really depends. There are all types of descriptions that we get from our cigars. But I always say, look, yeah, if you're a new smoker and you're looking for cigars, ask your tobacconist. Ask them. Ask your local B&M manager or assistant for the flavor profiles. Rely on their experience and on their sound judgment. You can do your own research as well, and you can read the descriptions that the company offers, or you can obviously watch the reviews on YouTube, or read them online. But it's a good guide. Ultimately, your palate will tell you what's best for you. That's really what it comes down to, not the description. Now, I was looking for a mild smoke this morning, and I didn't get around to smoking one this morning, so now it's early afternoon, and I still wanted a milder smoke because I hadn't had much to eat. So that was my reason. And also, sometimes I'm just in the mood for a mild cigar. Totally okay, right? Very nice looking band on the cigar. Very good presentation. Lovely looking USA Connecticut shade wrapper. And so far it's been good. So no complaints here. We're going to let this develop a little bit. We're going to touch back when we're at the halfway point. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Cuban stock name, as I did in the first review with their first cigar, and then we'll sum it up. Okay, so I gotta say, the description has been on point. Not because of any kind of power of suggestion. It has just been a creamy, cedar-like, soft earth cigar. Little to no pepper, some mild sweetness as well. Very well balanced cigar. What do these Dominican roots do within the barrel to the filler over the course of 10 years? I don't know. I really couldn't tell you what kind of Dominican roots. There's so many different kind of Dominican roots. I know that Dominican roots are used in a lot of traditional drinks and foods, but the one that I know of most, where I've seen the traditional roots actually work their magic, is in Mama Juana. And for those of you that are Dominican and you're watching this, you know Mama Juana. You grew up knowing what Mama Juana was. And Mama Juana is basically tree barks, Dominican roots, and so forth. And there's specific kinds for specific types of Mama Juana. And you macerate these roots with a clear distillate of rum, preferably, and most traditionally Dominican rum, of course. And you let it age there, you let it sit there and rest there, and it works its magic. And eventually you blend it with a few other things, like I believe some kind of wine, and you get this awesome drink that's supposed to invigorate the the libido. So, amongst other things. So, listen, I'm not gonna rush in and say that the Dominican roots that this filler was aged alongside of in the oak barrel is going to uh, uh, produce the same effect as the Mama Juana. Not gonna say that, but it is an interesting thing to think about, right? Because I don't know what kind of Dominican roots are in there, and I don't know how they influenced the tobacco, because the oak barrel itself is lending itself in shaping the profile of the filler. So with the Dominican roots, something's got to happen. Something's got to give. This is a question for Rocco, and I am going to call Rocco and find out a little bit more about this so that I can add it in the description, because I found out about the Dominican roots shortly before doing this video, and I was kind of surprised by that. I've heard of vanilla beans, I've heard of coffee beans, and those type of things, and this is pretty simple for me, but Dominican roots, I don't know, and for 10 years at that. So it wasn't like they finished it there for like 3 or 4 months. This is 10 years. It's been a wonderful cigar. I mean, the next time I'm in Philly, which won't be long from now, I'm going to pick up a 5-pack, maybe more, because this is just great for beginners and for morning smokes. This is a really good cigar. That's what I can say about it. It has delivered on everything that the description promised, and what the description did not promise was the balance. And overall, the smoothness has just been there from beginning up until this point. Okay, my critique on Cuban stock reserve, Toro. Mr. Yaniv Levy, I understand that you're a businessman. I understand that you love cigars, you love coffee, just like I do. And I understand that in business, by naming your private label Cuban stock, it sounds way sexier than if you named it Dominican stock. I get that. I get that. But let's talk about facts here. Your company is using Cuban seeds in the Dominican Republic, like a lot of other companies, like a lot of other people in Nicaragua and in Honduras, using Cuban seed. That's great. That's ideal, right? It's the motherland. It's what you want. But it's misleading to a certain point, because there is no Cuban tobacco in this cigar or in the line, or for that matter, anywhere in your shop. And even if there was, if it was legal and there was, then perhaps I could get behind it, because then I could say, well, this gentleman is actually employing not just Cuban seed, but Cuban ligero, Cuban tobacco in a line of cigars. But that's not the case here. So it's misleading. It's been named this for quite a long time, and it hasn't received a cease and desist letter from Habanos SA, the way that Abe Flores and PDR Cigars did. So they've been lucky in that. But it could come at any moment. It could. I mean, it really could. Because if the Cuban government and the Habanos SA feels like saying, hey, this company is labeling a line of cigars which almost suggests and indicates that they're using Cuban tobacco, and they're not. Okay, gotten past that already. My point is, there should be some kind of pride in Dominican tobacco. And this isn't because of my feelings towards the Dominican Republic or Dominican tobacco or Dominican people. This is just about the facts that the Dominican Republic has high quality tobacco. The Cibao Valley, the Yaquis Valley. These are prime regions where the soil is very close to the quality of Cuban soil. There is no shame in saying you make Dominican puros or that you primarily use Dominican tobaccos for a cigar line. There should be no shame in that. And I'm not saying that Mr. Levy is ashamed of that. I don't know that. I can't say that. I'm just saying in general, there's a sexiness to the Cuban name brand. But people shy away from seeing the sexiness in the Dominican name brand, which I believe deserves that sexy label. It deserves to be considered on the same playing field. Because guess what? In 2016, you opened up a huge manufacturing operation, warehouse, operating plant in the Dominican Republic, and I believe not far from Santiago, or I think in Tamboril. So you're obviously investing in the Dominican Republic, and you're taking advantage of the free zone and everything that comes with it, as you should, because that's smart business, right? So I'm just saying from my viewpoint, I think I would love to see more of these private lines that carry mainly Dominican tobacco to just come to grips with the fact that, you know, you might be using Cuban seed, but you're using mainly Dominican tobacco, and Dominican tobacco is great in my book, hands down, and you should be proud of that. So that's my critique on that, my 2 cents. It's wonderful tobacco here, wonderful cigar. I encourage everyone that's in Philadelphia or to just look up on their website and order some of these cigars. At least the ones that I've reviewed that I can vouch for, I fully recommend them. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time on Backyard Cigars.